guys, back on the vlog channel with some pregnancy vlogs. Yes, if you missed my announcement on my beauty channel, I am pregnant. And I really enjoyed shooting these vlogs during my last pregnancy with Belle, and I got a lot of nice feedback on it, both from people who were going through it at the time to those who were just curious or fascinated about it. And I would just love to take you with me on this journey this time around as well. So currently, as I sit here and shoot this video, I am 13 weeks. Depending on when I post it, I may be 14 weeks. That changes every Thursday, but I am due in January, January 12th specifically. And there's just so much that I want to share with you in this video. And if you're not familiar with pregnancy vlogs, I'm going to warn you now, there may be some overshares, there may be a little bit of TMI happening, but I want to be helpful and I want to be useful to those who kind of, think about their own situations and really want to know what happens through this kind of a process to a person's body. But I guess the logical place to start would be, how did we know, or when did we know that we wanted to have another baby? And I think even before having Belle, we had this vision in our mind that we wanted children. But you go through it with a child and you think, well, that could possibly change, because never being a parent before, visions and things you hope for are all nice and wonderful, but once you actually get in the thick of it and you realize how much work it is to raise a child, are you still going to have that kind of a feeling? Like, yes, I would still want multiples. And I tell you, in the early days with Belle, when I was getting like no sleep and she wasn't sleeping real well and crying and all these different things, like there was a time when I thought, I can't imagine another kid being in this mix. And I think the thing that you have to kind of go back and remember is that you wouldn't be bringing a kid into that situation. Things grow, things change, months pass. So, by now I'm dealing with a much different situation. But anyway, even then, I think I knew deep down, yes, I do want to go through this again. And basically I had nursed Belle, September all the way through to her first birthday, and beyond that we went to February 17th. I believe that's the last day I have down as nursing her. Now, if you are nursing continuously, that can be a thing that prevents your period from coming back. And in my case, I really started tapering off the feedings and started to work toward weaning probably in December, and that change, that shift in the nursing routine, I think prompted me to get my period back in January. And then that January to February time, I remember, was really, getting her into more and more foods, more whole milk. The last feeding that we got her off of, I know a lot of times people will say the nighttime feeding, the before bed feeding might be the last one you have. For her, it tended to be her morning feeding, waking up, was the last one she was getting from me. And we had transitioned her in the evening, bedtime time, to whole milk from a sippy cup. So anyway, how does this all apply to pregnancy, right? I know people, are capable of getting pregnant while nursing, while it may not be extremely common, or it might be kind of a myth that people think, oh, I'm nursing, I'm not going to be able to get pregnant. I mean, if your period has returned, it could be a possibility. For me, I guess, given, my talk with my doctor, and I remember him saying, in my year follow-up appointment after having Belle, that, if you're serious about getting pregnant, you're probably going to want to think about weaning. Not that you would have to, not that everybody has to, but I think it can help your chances. And as soon as my period returned in January, I just kind of got it in my head, okay, I think now's, the time that we want to be thinking about this. But I didn't realistically think it would be possible probably until after she was totally weaned. So I wasn't thinking I was going to get pregnant in January, really wasn't thinking I would get pregnant in February either, because I had still nursed her for a good chunk of that month. And though my period had returned, and I was getting them monthly, during this time, it was not very regular. Like the cycles were really all over the place. And it's just kind of funny, because I think back to Belle, and when I got pregnant with her, I had just gotten off the pill, and it was literally as soon as it was humanly possible to get pregnant, that's when I got pregnant with her. It just happened really quick. And this time, I think you've got a lot of things happening hormonally as you get done with breastfeeding. You know, that's one set of hormones that's producing milk and doing all that stuff. And it's a different set that, you know, produces and houses a baby in there. And another thing I remember my doctor had said is it's not necessarily the amount of time you've been away from breastfeeding that'll like up your chances of getting pregnant, but it's the like normalcy of your cycles, like consistent cycles coming at the right times. And that makes sense because when your cycles are all over the place, when are you ovulating? So I had a couple months there going through the spring where this was really on my mind. You know, I wanted to get pregnant. My cycles were not real predictable, but I was using, you know, those ovulation predictor kits that you can get to really find out when you're ovulating, because I mean, it was just hard to stay on top of. And so there was some time there where I really felt hopeful that maybe this is the time, but it just wasn't yet. And I'm not saying it was some long, drawn out, frustrating, you know, wait to get pregnant, because it wasn't. It wasn't a long period of many months or even years. And I know people go through that, and, you know, that I'm not even trying to compare experiences there. I am just kind of basing it off of the first time that I had, which, you know, happened before I could even hardly put much thought into whether or not this is happening or timing or anything like that, to this time where I really felt like I was thinking about it. It was on my mind. And so I remember in May and late April, we had a lot of people over, like several weekends in a row, people were visiting. And one weekend, my friends Kaylee and Jonathan were here, and we had a great time. I Snapchatted a lot during that weekend. You might remember it if you watch a lot of my snaps. But we went to a winery, and I knew Kaylee wanted to do that, and I just told her, I gave her the heads up. I'm like, I know that there is a chance this time around this month I could be pregnant, and I just don't want to risk it. So that's why I'm not going to be, you know, taking part in the sangria and the wine tasting and all that business. And it's too soon to test. There's like this, you know, 2-week wait before you can really get an accurate read on a test. So I'm like, I just have this gut feeling. So I'm not going to partake. I'm going to be the designated driver on this little trip. And, you know, I'm not going to be enjoying the wine, and that's fine. But I just wanted Kaylee to know like what the situation was. And during that time, that wait before I felt like I could take a test and wondering, you know, is my period gonna come? I totally feel you guys who have been through this, and you've overanalyzed symptoms, and you've wondered, what was that little twinge? What was that? Did I just feel a cramp? Or, you know, like you're thinking all of these things that your body is doing. You're trying to be very in tune with your body and get some sort of signal as to what's happening in there. And I remember feeling that way and wondering, you know, oh, do I feel extra emotional? Did I just smell the litter box more than usual? Like all this crap. And it, you know, it totally gets in your head. And meanwhile, I'm just shooting my beauty videos, like I am using that as my time to absolutely take my brain off of it. So if I seem totally normal, you know, doing my makeup reviews and stuff, that's because, you know, that was my time to just exhale and put my brain on something else. And so we're now to like the week leading up to Mother's Day. And I thought, you know, this would be really an amazing Mother's Day if I tested like this weekend and it turned out to be positive and it's Mother's Day weekend. Like that's a little too perfect. Maybe it can't happen this month for me. And so that week leading up to Mother's Day for me was really like mentally tough, because I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't want to have that time of the month. I really want to, you know, get pregnant, and I want to be able to take a test by the weekend. And so Friday rolls around and I got the guts to go ahead and test, because, you know, you don't want to take it and then it's a negative test and then you're disappointed. So I was not like an over tester as far as pregnancy goes. I wasn't peeing on a stick every day. I was just like, you know, let's hold out for when this could reasonably happen. And so I wake up Friday morning, I take the test. I think it was a cheap test from like Equate from Walmart or something, and I first see, you know, the minus, and I'm thinking, wait, what? And then I just hold on for like 2 more seconds that seem like an eternity, but I'm waiting, and then boom, there's the crosshairs, and I'm like, oh, whoa, this is it. And like I'm there alone in the bathroom. A cupcake once again is the first being to find out about this because she's in there too. Bub's not up yet. Of course, Bella's still sleeping, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. So I go in, and I don't even try to really conceal like my emotions this time, but Bub's in bed, and I'm like, Bub, I think there's something you need to see, and I'm pretty certain he knows what I'm talking about, but he's all bleary-eyed and, you know, getting his glasses on and sees it, and, you know, suspicions confirmed. I am pregnant. And then that particular day was such a roller coaster because I think Belle threw up. I don't think she's ever thrown up before, but she had thrown up in her crib. She was acting all different, like, you know, she was going through some little bug. And so I thought, I need to take her to the doctor. I called the doctor early that morning, got her in. That also happened to be the day that our heating and AC system was getting completely overhauled. We're getting a new one that day, and that turns out to be like a 9 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon type process. So one of us needed to be here for that. Bub needed to stay home from work a little bit to cover that so I could take her to the doctor. And all that time I'm thinking, can I just like wallow at the fact that I got a positive pregnancy test this morning? But I was thrilled. Whatever was going on that day, it really did not matter because I was so happy. And yeah, Belle, you know, got over her little bug by, I don't know, later in the day. But I was so excited, and here it was, like Mother's Day weekend, and I thought, oh, what a wonderful feeling. Like it felt so fabulous. I mean, to have thought on this and really kind of had the possibility on my radar from the start of the year, and then, you know, it's okay, it's coming to pass. And I had tested then like multiple more times. I think I tested like later that day, and then maybe another test like a couple days later, just to, you know, make sure I wasn't getting too excited. But anyway, once you find out, call the doctor, get that first appointment made. But I just wanted to point out like some of the first things I was feeling that I think truly were early pregnancy symptoms in that week leading up to when I tested. So I did notice a little more sensitivity to scents. I felt that was a true thing that was happening there. I felt I was experiencing a little bit of a loss of appetite, and that could have just been like nerves, I'm not sure. I did have some occasional sensitivity, like near my breasts, near the armpit area, and that can be a early pregnancy sign. I put down here, nothing sounded good but Mexican food. Fortunately, it was Cinco de Mayo. Oh, and I tested on a clear blue test. That was the kind that I had used that first time. But anyway, that first doctor's appointment, that was at 8 weeks, I believe. And that was the time where you go in and there's a lot of paperwork. They go over your medical history again, kind of like they did the first time we came in for signing up for our pregnancy with Belle. So they go through that information, see if there's any changes. They do draw some blood, and they did an initial ultrasound. And so it was just a tiny little bean there that you could see, and they could see a heartbeat, you know, and I just thought, wow, you know, this is amazing. And that never stops being amazing. And it wasn't until the next appointment that I got to meet with the doctor for the first time. He does a pelvic exam. Same doctor we had during our pregnancy with Belle. And I remember Tyler wasn't at that appointment. And so I was like, I brought so many books, so many things, trying to keep her occupied during that appointment because we had to wait for quite a while. And then this most recent appointment was at 12 weeks. And for that, I mean, that was just really quick. It was kind of going in, got your blood pressure taken, got weighed. And an interesting thing that had kind of happened between the appointment prior and this one was I'd lost 3 pounds. And I could even tell it like in my face in certain videos. So like a few people said, oh, it looks like you get, you know, I thought you were pregnant because it looked like your face gained a little weight or something. Well, you know what? I'm bloated and I'm wearing highlight. That's the glow. But no, I truly like, I think it was the nausea that was coming into play. And that definitely has been a factor more this pregnancy than last. It's like when you're not pregnant and maybe you're thinking about, what am I going to fix for dinner tonight? This doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound like anything I'm really in the mood for. Oh, I think I'll make this. And then during pregnancy, the things that don't sound good to you, if you think on those things too long, like at least this is my experience, if I think about those things too long, it makes me physically feel sick to my stomach. Like certain things that I loved before, like at this Thai restaurant, you know, we're talking like almost final meal status with this pineapple fried rice that I love so much. But I mean, Tyler brought that home one night and I couldn't even take a bite. It wasn't happening this way quite to this extent during the last pregnancy. There are times when the only thing I feel like I can stomach is a plain Eggo waffle, you know, just out of the toaster, mild, you know, nothing on it. I haven't gotten to the point of actually throwing up, but I mean, my appetite, I feel like, has been greatly affected by this because there's just not as many things that sound good. Certain things that do sound good, Mexican food pretty continuously does sound good. Popcorn, waffles, hard candy for whatever reason, like spearmint or peppermint, like hard candy mints or butterscotch or cinnamon like that classic hard candy. I don't know. I don't know where this stuff's coming from. But trying to drink a lot of water, trying to just make myself down as many healthy things as I feel like I can stomach, and taking my prenatal vitamins. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. And at this point right now, you know, I should be getting toward the end of that, you know, starting to get into the second trimester. You start to get some energy back and you shouldn't feel quite as nauseous if that's the way you've been feeling. So I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to kick in because the fatigue has been the other biggie. And I did notice that very early on also. I noticed it a lot, you know, being pregnant with Belle, but I think to an even greater extent now, maybe because I'm exerting even more energy just in my daily life trying to chase a toddler around, but so tired, you know, just the feeling of I could lay my head down and I could just fall asleep and just kind of be tipped over like this, like literally not even laying down, but just, you know, resting on something. That would be fine. I could sleep that way. And sometimes I'll hit a real tired moment at like 11 o'clock in the morning. Now I do wake up early to work on my videos. I wake up at like 5 or 5:30 and, you know, I have to wake up and go to the bathroom anyway. So that's normally not too hard to get me out of bed. Some days by like 11, I'm feeling real tired and then I kind of power through that, or you know, sometimes I'll get a nap when she naps. Sometimes my mom's been on me like, you need to nap when she naps. But then I'll hit another real tired time, like right around the time Tyler's due to be coming home from work. Sometimes like between 5 and 6 o'clock, I'm like, oh man, this day I am so tired. You can't just be like, oh, okay, I'll just have a pop or have some coffee. You know, I've limited myself, just like I did during my last pregnancy, to a small cup of coffee, letting myself have that every morning. That's not, you know, a problematic thing to do. But once I have that, I'm done. I don't allow myself any more caffeine throughout the day. I would say I deal with some occasional headaches, not migraines. I am capable of having migraines with aura and just all sorts, really bad migraines where I can't see, I can barely speak, like bad stuff. Haven't run into that. Just occasional more like tension headache feeling type things, but that hasn't even been a weekly thing. It's just been kind of occasional. I've been asked if the melasma is going to come back. I do have a little bit of that happening now, but I think a big factor in that is summertime, sunshine, you know, having sun exposure, even if you really try to stay on top of it with the sunscreen, like that can easily surface on my skin. I think I'm maybe just prone to it now. I even had it when I wasn't pregnant a little bit, and I can see a little bit of that coming in now, but you know, it's really no big deal. I'm used to dealing with it. I have no problem covering it up, but to be able to go through the experience of pregnancy, I'm not going to complain one bit. But gosh, I can't really think of anything else yet. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some of these symptoms like the fatigue and the nausea to die down a little bit for me. The next time we go to the doctor will be 16 weeks, and that is when we should find out boy or girl. We are so excited, and they will do an ultrasound, and that should reveal to us boy or girl, and that was how we found out with Belle, was doing the ultrasound. I know some people have the blood test. That wasn't really offered to me, but we're so excited. I'm going to be honest, I'm really glad Belle is a girl. I know that's maybe not the right thing to say, but you know, I was really glad my first one was a girl, and now I feel chill. Whatever happens, it will be awesome. We're hoping for health. That's kind of, you know, just what the end game is here. But whether it's another little girl or a little boy, I will just be fascinated to see what they're like. You know, I can't wait to meet them already. And I know something I've noticed about Tyler, though. I feel like he is a very confident girl daddy, you know, like he's so good with Belle. I think he really kind of takes on that protector role, and she just adores him, of course. And I think a lot of people have the assumption, well, if you've already got a girl, you certainly are probably wanting a boy this time around, right? And I think, you know, if it turns out to be another girl, both of us would be completely pleased with that too. So anyway, that's what's happening. If I've left certain things out, if you've got any other questions that I can address the next time, please let me know in the comments section. It's been a while since I've done one of these vlogs, and I know my whole story leading up to the pregnancy was very, you know, long, but I thank you so much for watching, for caring at all about me and us and our situation, and I hope this might be of help to somebody out there who's watching, going through this, or might be someday, or maybe is reminiscing on the past. Thank you for taking time to be here with me, and I will see you very soon. Bye.